Chiefs of Police, and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
You're watching Rogers TV, Grey County.
Hello and welcome to the special edition COVID-19 program. I am delighted to welcome as a guest today Greg Nicol from the Owen Sound Fire and Emergency Services, and I am the host of the program today. My name is Carol Merton. Greg, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so pleased to have you here, and I know you have a lot of information for us, for sure.
I do, Carol. Very excited to be with you guys today. Absolutely thrilled that Rogers TV reached out to the Owen Sound Fire and Emergency Services to talk a little bit about fire safety today.
So I want to thank you for sending the information that you did. And for sure, as we're talking through fire safety, I'll be most interested to hear how COVID-19 has affected the services that you provide, if it has. I don't want to assume, but it seems like it's affected just about everything. And also go through some helpful hints for people, as not just in COVID, but every day.
Absolutely.
So I know that you had sent me, so there's a few topics and you're going to take it from here. I'm just going to introduce the topics and you're going to take it from here. So I was really interested to hear about the Enbridge Gas Safe Community Project Zero. So hoping you can spend some time on that. And then also you had also given some information about apartment safety and certainly even exiting any building safely. So where would you like to begin?
Well, first let's talk a little bit about how COVID-19 has affected the Owen Sound Fire and Emergency Services, our day-to-day operation, how the public will see a different on what our response is, how we're coming to your house, what we might be looking like when we get to your house, those kind of things. So from an emergency standpoint, obviously we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Carol. If somebody needs our help, we are going to your house or your building or your workplace or meeting you on the street to make sure that we're offering the services that the City of Owen Sound wants us to do, and we're doing it safely. Owen Sound Police Services, who is our dispatcher, go through a number of questions with the caller to see what the situation is, what the COVID-19 situation might be. So that information does get relayed to our responding crews before they even leave the station. They know if it's a COVID positive, COVID negative. Not that that changes a whole lot of the personal protective equipment that the guys are going to wear, but it certainly gets the on-duty crew ready to be aware of, hey, this is a COVID positive test, this is a COVID negative test, so that they know what precautions to take when they do get to your house. When the guys are in the station, when they're not working by themselves, obviously I'm in an office by myself this afternoon, we are wearing masks. We are abiding by the same principles that everybody else is doing out there in their workplace, and it's very much appreciated that everybody's doing their part to make this situation better and hopefully in the near future something of a remember the time story, for lack of better terms. Our guys are wearing equipment on the trucks. We are going through a lot of personal protective equipment to make sure that the staff here does stay safe on a daily basis before anybody comes to work, whether I'm at home for myself or my colleagues are coming to work. They do a full screen in, same as every other city employee. It's the same screen that, for those of you that have went to an Owen Sound Attack game or used the city facility, it's the same screen. We just hit the city staff button, and from there it's logged that, hey, we've screened, we're doing well. And our guys are responding very well. They're doing a great job of maintaining a great level of service here for the City of Owen Sound residents and keeping the building safe for each other and their families at home. So those are great things for our community. We do want to reiterate to everybody that we're responding. From the fire prevention office standpoint, we did a number of virtual visits to classes. We will be doing back into class visits very shortly with our friends at the public schools, the Catholic school and the private schools in the community. Our inspection processes are still on the go. We're still making sure that the city's wheels are turning, the business is going, and the buildings are safe. My colleague Doug McEwen is out and about doing routine fire inspections, same thing we always do. and we're working with the other city departments very, very well to make sure that the projects that are on the go are on schedule, on time, and they're getting the approvals they need for occupancy and to move ahead on a number of great projects here for the city of Owen Sound over the next few years.
And you raise some really important points. Your department, meaning the Owen Sound Fire and Emergency Services, and especially Fire Prevention Services, you play a pivotal role in ensuring that the housing and the buildings continue, that they, new builds occur because they're inspected and safe for people to go into. And, we hear a lot about housing concerns and the issue of homelessness, but that connection with fire prevention and making sure that the new builds are safe is a critical one, I think, for not delaying the option of having new builds move forward. So I think that's a really important thing, and I'm not sure everyone would be aware of that.
We work very, very well with not only the city departments, the building, the planning, the engineering, and the water department to get the new builds on the go. But we also work very closely with Canadian Association of Mental Health. Their team is to making sure that the units they're using are safe. And we talked about the Project Zero. We're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. We went through and visited a number of their units to make sure that they were safe. We work very closely with Grey County Housing, Owen Sound Municipal Nonprofit Housing. We're on first-name basis with those individuals, so they know they can reach out to us anytime if they have issues. And on the flip side of that, we know we have a very good direct link with them and a number of the private building owners in town. When we talk about Skyline Realty, Barry's Construction, Kepler Real Estate and Residences, we have those numbers, and the relationships we built allows us to make good, quick contact. Effective contact, and it's a very cordial relationship, and we've built that over years, and we want to make sure we continue that. Just this morning, I was speaking with Barry Cursabrink, and we have a great relationship, and it's a first name basis. It's easy. Hey, Stu, Barry, we need you to get this done, and we're going to get that done, and they do it. And I can't say enough about all the building owners in our community and the relationships that our office, myself and Doug McEwen, continue to build and make sure that they're going to continue to succeed into the future.
Excellent. So there were a few things you mentioned about the virtual education with the schools but I'm wondering if you could talk about nursing homes. Nursing homes have been quite the concern, certainly through the pandemic. How has that affected what you're able to do with nursing homes?
We have still done our annual inspections. The Ontario Fire Marshal's Office of Emergency Management, they mandate that all municipalities that have care facilities in their communities have to have an inspection and a drill on an annual basis. And in the last 2 years, the City of Owen Sound, with the 14 facilities in our community, we have continued that. We have done the inspections. We have done drills of sorts. We haven't done a lot of intermingling with residents and staff, but we have made sure the staff are aware of their roles and responsibilities. The staff that work in our community, when I look at it from my perspective, the fire-related perspective, are absolute professionals. When a fire alarm goes off, they know what to do. They know the importance of closing doors, which is a thing we'll talk about here in a little bit. They know when to move people. They know that their level of safety. Because my concern, not only for the residents, is also for the staff that work in these buildings. That if a fire does start, that hey, they're safe. They're doing things that are safe, that are going to mitigate the situation, make it better right away. So we do our annual inspections. Every building in the City of Owen Sound that's a care facility, except for one, it's a long-term care facility, doesn't have sprinklers. It's going to very, very shortly when they move into the new facility. So all the buildings are basically equipped with sprinklers. They've got great staff, no smoking in the facilities. So a lot of the risks have gone away, and some of the things that are built into the building are much safer than they used to be. And staff is very aware. We've done a lot of training with them to know, hey, when a fire alarm goes off, this is what's going to happen. Also, along with that, hey, you guys know that how the building's going to react, that what's going to go on in the building is actually good for your safety and for the residents' safety as well.
Yeah. So just before we go on to the other topics, you do, I understand, do portable fire extinguisher training as part of your role. Do you want to speak to that for a moment?
We do. We haven't done it in a couple of years because just that interaction's been a bit challenging. We were doing it here at the fire station. We can offer that, and it's not a bad thing for us to do. And if somebody wanted to do that, they can reach out to myself or my colleague Doug McEwen, who will gladly work a safe option for that to be done. We've definitely worked with a lot of companies and a lot of facilities in the past to make sure that people know the importance of portable fire extinguishers and how they work, but also that, hey, the portable fire extinguisher is one of our last steps in a lot of things. We want to make sure that people are out, the doors are closed, that we've been contacted, the fire alarm's been activated. Then we'll talk about, let's try to put the fire extinguisher out or use a lid or those kind of things.
Yeah. So one other question, well, there'll be more questions, but right now, the TAPP-C sessions, what does that stand for?
So the Arson Prevention Program for Children is an educational program that our department is, we're educated, myself and Doug, on how to approach children that have done fire play. We work with the families, not just the child, but the whole family, to make sure that they understand the risks of fire play, the dangers of fire play, and what the downstream effect could be. We do 4 different sessions. We do 3 in their house, and then 1 here at the fire station when we were permitted to do that. And it's an education, and it's obviously it's aimed, Carol, at the age group appropriate, right? So if there's a 15-year-old child that's having match play, we do a whole lot different conversation than we do with a 4-year-old that's having match play, right? And a lot of times we go in, the first time we go in, we have a meeting with the family, because sometimes the family isn't even aware that, hey, I'm a smoker and I have a match here and a lighter there and another lighter over here. We're like, let's just put one of those in your pocket, and that's a huge stop right away. And the families are always very receptive of us working with them. It's free service. We can go in and do it. We're very discreet. We don't bring the trucks around. It's my own personal vehicle or my colleague's personal vehicle. And we work very closely with the family. And again, age appropriate. Everybody in the family is participating. Everybody's knowing that they got smoke alarms where they need to have them. They're doing the drills, and they're practicing home fire safety.
Yeah, excellent. So where would you like to go next in the topics?
Let's talk a little bit about the Project Zero, the Enbridge Gas Project Zero. So Enbridge Gas gave the Owen Sound Fire and Emergency Services 90 smoke alarms for people that need them. So we've been out in the community already putting these smoke alarms, they're combination smoke and CO alarms, into people's apartments and into people's houses where they're needed. If somebody has older smoke alarms, doesn't have a smoke alarm, isn't sure about their smoke alarms and their carbon monoxide alarms, hey, give our office a call. Because of Project Zero and Enbridge Gas, we have quite a selection of these, and we're more than willing to come to your house, assist you to make sure that you have the required smoke alarms, they're in the right place, and most importantly, they are working.
Now, you mentioned they're 2-in-1.
Yeah.
Is that something new? I'm familiar with, carbon monoxide in the fire, but yeah, so it means that a person just needs to buy one and it can pick up fire and or carbon monoxide.
Sure. So a lot of questions we get, one of the main questions we get is, where do I need to put my carbon monoxide alarm? So carbon monoxide is a clear, odorless, tasteless gas. You can't see it, you can't smell it. It weighs almost the same as air in your house. So it's not going to be at the ceiling, it's not going to be at the floor, it's going to be just traveling with the ambient airflow in your home. So these are great because they can, it's one device, and you don't have to worry about 2 devices and 2 batteries and such, and you don't have to worry about a second device up in your ceiling. This one is a great device because it also has a 10-year sealed lithium battery in it, so that you never have to change the battery. It's always going to work, and there's less chance of it being tampered with as well, so we know the battery's not going to be removed. Carbon monoxide alarm needs to be placed adjacent to your sleeping area. So what I mean by that, if you have sleeping upstairs and downstairs, you need to have 2 carbon monoxide alarms in your house. Now, if you're an apartment dweller, the code is a little bit different on that. It needs to be in the service room and in the suites adjacent to the service room. So there might be some of you watching in on the show going, I don't have a carbon monoxide alarm. Well, if you're in an apartment, in a nursing home, you may not require it, just depending on where the location of your dwelling unit, your bedroom, your sleeping room is, in conjunction with the way the building lays out. So if somebody needs a smoke alarm, somebody needs a carbon monoxide alarm, these will definitely be available to our community. We can only put them in spots where they're battery operated. So if you have a newer home that has a smoke alarm on every level, and maybe even on every bedroom, and that's causing you issues, and it's a hardwired device, this can't replace that. All right, you have to go and get your own hardwired device and probably have a licensed electrician put that in for you. But we will replace it, and we'll give you this on the interim. Like, let's say overnight, there's something wrong with one of your devices, we'll put this on the interim, and then in the next day or next couple of business days, you can get to the hardware store, the general store, and get yourself a new device.
So with the information that you sent me, I did read it. The role is to educate communities about the requirement to have a CO alarm if they have a fuel burning appliance or an attached garage.
Correct.
So maybe you could just elaborate just a little bit. Is this a new requirement or has it been there for a few years now?
This requirement, I'm going to say, came in close to a decade ago, Carol. And so carbon monoxide, obviously, if your house is full electric heat or your apartment's full electric heat, you don't have an attached garage, hey, then you don't need a carbon monoxide alarm because you're not going to have that risk. It's not there. But if you have a fuel-fired hot water heater, if you have a fuel-fired furnace, gas-fired, wood-fired, propane-fired, whatever it is, you could have the chance of having carbon monoxide in your home. And as a result of that, we want to make sure that you have the alarms that are required in the home. So that's what a carbon monoxide alarm, where it comes from. So there are houses in our community that are total electric that will not require a carbon monoxide alarm in the home.
Now, Enbridge Gas, through their generous donation, between the Owen Sound Fire and Emergency Services and Inter-Township Fire Department, and I'm mentioning that because there may be viewers who are not directly, received 180 combination smoke and carbon monoxide alarms, which is a significant amount of alarms. So anyone who's watching this who may need one, you have some left, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
And they would call you personally through the Owen Sound Fire Services? Is that how they, and just ask for one?
Give us a call at 519-376-2512 and say, hey, I heard about the Project Zero through Enbridge Gas. Why don't you come and take a look at my smoke alarms, and we can arrange a time that works for our department and for your home.
And certainly a shout out to Enbridge Gas for sure, because I read that they have invested $500,000 in Safe Community Project Zero, certainly over the past 13 years, and provided more than 68,000 alarms to Ontario fire departments. That's amazing.
It certainly helps our department out. We do have a budget line to buy smoke alarms, but this certainly does help us get them to where they need to. And we've been very proactive. We went and met with our friends at OSHARE. We also sat with Grey County, kind of offers a meet and greet at the market building once a month. And we've sat and we've met with people there to ask them how their smoke alarm's working. If they're not sure, we've gone and visited with people to make sure that the smoke alarms that are required are there, they're working, and that the people have that level of safety in their apartments or homes.
So that moves us nicely into the topic of fire safety within buildings. So maybe you can, and certainly you would send information about high-rise buildings. High-rise buildings, how many floors do you have to be before you're a high-rise?
Well, technically you need to be 6. Technically you need to be 6 to be a high-rise. But the information sheet I shared, and Mark, I'm going to try to share my screen here because I'm going to see how it works. Bear with me here. I'm going to start my sharing. Here we go. And I'm going to put this screen up. There we go, Carol. Can you see my the Adobe sheet there now? I'm just going to move you around. So you can see that there is high-rise fire safety building and a high-rise fire safety in buildings. And that can be for a small building and a large building. When you don't live in your own house, sure, there could be an impact of a fire of your neighbor or somebody else in the building that could pose a bit of a danger to you. So one of the things, obviously, if there is a fire in your unit, you need to tell everybody in the unit to leave. You're going to either yell fire or activate the fire alarm system that's in your building. And that could be just a matter of going down the hallway and flipping the red switch at the bottom of the hall. You're going to dial 911. That's an absolutely important thing to do. When you dial 911, it tells dispatch and Owen Sound that, hey, there's a problem in the community. And it tells us that, hey, we need to get some bodies over there. It lets our captains then make that decision to up staff immediately so we have more bodies going to a larger building that has some different complexities than a single family residence. And then obviously when we get there, you're going to meet us out front. You're going to say, hey, there was a fire in apartment 7 or apartment 402, and we can then start to make those decisions. So let's say there's an apartment, you live in an apartment. I know a lot of the viewers here at Rogers do, and they're wondering, okay, I hear the fire alarm. What should I do? Obviously, the fire alarm, when you hear it, it's telling you there's a problem in the building. What you want to do then is you want to take a quick look in your unit to make sure it's not in yours. And then you're going to go to your door. You're going to quickly take a look out in the hallway. If it's clear and there's no smoke and you're physically able to do it, so you're going to make your way out of your apartment, down the stairs and out front. You're not going to use the elevator. The elevator could be it's probably going to be recalled. That's the way a lot of fire alarm systems work. It's going to be recalled down to the ground floor level. And also my colleagues are going to start to use it. Doesn't mean that we're not going to use it in the future, but right now it's probably not going to be accessible, and you could be standing there waiting for it, and it's never going to come to your floor because it's recalled and going somewhere else. If you decide to stay in your apartment, obviously you're going to pick up the phone and dial 911 and say, hey, the fire alarm's ringing at wherever building I live in. I'm staying in my apartment. That information then gets relayed to our on-duty crew, the guys that are there on the scene, and they can then, looking at the incident action plan and the risks, make a decision as, okay, do we need to get Carol out of her apartment, or we better to leave Carol in her apartment and do a couple of other things. A lot of times you'll hear in large buildings of people that pass away in the corridor. Not necessarily in their apartment, but in the corridor, because they enter into that corridor thinking they got to get out, right? Got to get out, buildings on fire, got to get out. Well, when you do that, you're actually going from a fairly safe location behind a closed door into a situation where you may have a lot of fire, right? So you open that door, and if there's a lot of smoke, a lot of fire, you're going to close that door. You're going to put some sort of barricade, some tape, some towels, those kind of things around the door, and find another way out, or picking up the phone and saying, hey, I need to make my way out. And you're going to close doors between you and that front door. A lot of great research out there, and I encourage people after the show to go to a little website called Close Before You Doze. It shows the importance of doors and how effective they are in preventing smoke spread. I'm going to flip a little screen here. I'm going to try with a little picture there. You can see on my screen there, this is a post-fire situation where the one room on the left has had about 1,000 degrees. The door was left open. The door on the right, the door was closed. And as a result, it was only about 100 degrees. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to live in there for the rest of your life while the building burns down around you, but it certainly will give you some time to escape should you need to. Mm-hmm. So if smoke enters your unit, obviously you want to blanket the bottom as much as you can. And again, making your way away from that, closing doors in between. What we don't want to have happen, Carol, is we don't want to have somebody that has some sort of physical ailment or some sort of disability heading for the stairs, getting into a corridor where there's filled with smoke, and then going, I can't even use the stairs. I can't do the stairs. Should I even be here? And that's something we really don't want people to do. And that's something that you need to be very aware of as well.
That's really important because we do have a lot of individuals who are using walkers or needing walking devices where if they can't take the elevator, the only option might be stairs, and they're not able to handle the stairs, correct?
Absolutely. If they can't handle the stairs, then they need to be making sure they're safely in place, keeping the doors closed, those kind of things. And if the fire alarm is ringing as a result of their apartment, they need to get out of their apartment, close the door, not lock it, close the door, and head for the stairwell, right? The stairwell is kind of, many people that know me know I use the term boxes a lot, Carol, that they've left their firebox, they're into the corridor, which is a different firebox. Now they've gone into the stairwell, which is a whole different firebox, right? So there's separations that are there.
Yeah. So in the information that you presented, what was interesting to me was call 911 when you are safe.
Absolutely.
So, and in other words, get yourself and yell for help and get yourself safe and call 911. The other thing is not to assume somebody else has called 911, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Some of the buildings in the city of Owen Sound are monitored. There's a number of them are. But there are a number of buildings in the city of Owen Sound that don't just because we have a fire alarm system doesn't mean that it's going to send a signal to Owen Sound Police Services. The nursing homes in town, the high rises in town, the places that have a sprinkler system, yeah, they're going to. The buildings in town that don't send a signal have a little sticker beside the pull station that says, hey, if the fire is in this building and you've activated the fire alarm system, it's not connected to the fire department, you need to dial 911. And you need to dial. That's an important aspect, Carol, is that some people think that they can text. Some people think that they could just send an email.
Oh.
No. You have to, under our current technology that we have at Owen Sound Police Services, you need to pick up the phone. You need to use the phone aspect of the cell phone and call and say, hey, my name's Greg. I'm at 1209 3rd Avenue East. There's a fire. You need to give those bits of information. Knowing your address, knowing that you did dial 911, and getting out safely and going to your meeting place, absolutely important.
And that's really critical information because we're moving so much towards text and other types of technology than just speaking to a human being. But when someone calls 911, someone answers the phone, correct?
Correct. Somebody answers the phone. The other thing that's interesting, and for our rural watchers that are out there, or even people that are maybe involved in a car crash or something, or in an environment where they don't know exactly where they are, there's a great website out there, a great app called What 3 Words. You can use that app, and I encourage viewers to try this after. Every 9 square meters in the world on What 3 Words has 3 distinct words. And Owen Sound Police Services are aware of it. OPP dispatch are aware of it, and it's been used in our area to find people that are in situations where they're not at an address like 1209 3rd Avenue East.
Yeah. The other thing that's helpful is just to have your address actually handy or close or on the back of your phone. In a stressful time, people forget. I probably would if I was in the middle of that. But to say, flip your phone over and yes, here's my address, because it's just so easy in that stressful moment to go blank.
Absolutely. But the delaying of 911 calling allows the fire to grow. It's delaying their emergency response crews from getting there, whether that's a medical emergency, some sort of rescue, or a fire. The longer you delay, the longer it takes us to get to the scene.
So we have just a minute or so left in the program, and I'm wondering if there's anything we haven't covered. I mean, you've covered a lot, but what else would you really like people to know in the last minute of our program?
I can't underestimate or overstate the importance of smoke alarms, Carol. Having working smoke alarms, they do the job. Just this week in the city of Owen Sound, we've had a couple of situations where carbon monoxide alarms have proved their value for issues with heating sources that have failed over the winter months here. If you sleep with your bedroom door closed, please install a smoke alarm in your bedroom. It gives you another early warning that if there's fire starts in your bedroom, then you'll get that early warning and you can get out very quickly. If you hear your smoke alarm, if you hear your fire alarm, get out, get to your meeting place, which of course you should know, and then dial 911 from that safe location.
Craig, I can't thank you enough for being here today. I've certainly learned information from you today, and hopefully it's been of help to others. By this information, we want to save people. We want to save lives. And that's what your job is to do, right? By informing, educating, and helping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to our viewing audience as well for joining us today. And please join us again to learn more about how to keep you and your family safe, not just in the COVID-19 pandemic, but at all times. Take care, stay safe.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.